Yes, start tayo. 10 minutes na. So, this is your chapter 3 for AIS. So, ang discussion natin dito is about ethics, fraud, and internal control. Ayan. Question lang, nakapag-auditing theory na ba kayo? Or ongoing ba si auditing theory?
Ongoing po.
Ayan. Okay. So, good. Kasi may konting discussion tayo about internal control, which is supposedly na-discuss na siya sa auditing theory nyo. Ayan. So, objectives for Chapter 3 is broad issues pertaining to business ethics, ethical issues related to the use of IT, distinguish between management fraud and employee fraud, common types of fraud schemes, features of COSO, and then objects and application of physical control. Ayan. So, business ethics. So, why should we be concerned about business ethics in the business world? Ayan. Bakit ba kailangan pa natin ng ethics in the business world? Normally kasi guys, the ethics of the management dictates the path, okay, kung saan pupunta or kung paano nagtatransact yung management or the business. Ayan. So, tayo as auditors, normally, tanda mo kay auditing theory mo, di ba? Sa pre-engagement activity, ano yung ginagawa natin? Pre-engagement activity is you are trying to determine whether or not you will accept the audit engagement. Ayan. Tapos, isa sa major consideration mo doon kung tatanggapin mo yung audit is the integrity of the client. Okay, the integrity of the client. Bakit? You would not want to be associated with clients which have a bad reputation. Okay, yun yung normal business practice natin, di ba? Kung kilala si entity halimbawa na nandadaya ng tax, okay, laging may dolly case, tapos ng mamaltrato ng mga empleyado. So as auditors, we do not want to be associated with those companies. Okay? Doon din pumapasok yung business ethics natin. Normally kasi, if a company is ethical, okay, ano yan? Compliant yan sa mga requirements. Okay? Pag hindi, normally, yan yung mga tumatakas sa mga kailangang compliance sa BIR, sa taxes, okay, sa mga employee benefits. Ayan. So that is the reason why we should be concerned about ethics in the business world. Okay? Because ethics are needed when conflicts arise. Okay? Pag kailangan mo na daw mamili. Kailan nagkakameron ng conflicts between employees, management, and stakeholders. Okay? Ang normal na application of business ethics is kung magbabayad ka ba ng tax o hindi. Okay? The need to choose. Okay, when conflicts arise. Saan po ang conflict doon? Sa stakeholders at saka sa management. For example, gusto naman ni management mag-comply, bayad siya ng tax. Kaya lang, anong kapalit ng pagbabayad ng tax? Lesser income for the stakeholders. Okay? Or for the stockholders na lang. Specifically for the stockholders. Okay, lesser income. So, may conflict. Anong pipiliin mo? Compliant ka sa tax? Na ethical ka? Okay? O mandadaya ka ng tax, pero mas malaki yung kikitain ng mga stockholders mo. So, dun po pumapasok yung ethics natin, yung business ethics. Ano pa, sa empleyado? Siyempre, si employees, gusto nila mas mataas yung income o mas mataas yung salary. Ikaw as employer, dapat yung ethics mo would be to give what is due to the employees. Okay, kaya lang minsan, di ba, lalo na kapag may mga dolly cases, okay, mas pinapaboran ng gobyerno yung mga empleyado natin. So, as business owners, as employers, okay, tayo yung nagbo-born ng bigat ng mga changes in the employee-employee relation salaries, okay, and wages. An example, lately lang nagkameron po ng increase with the minimum wage. Okay, with the minimum wage. So, ikaw as business owner, okay, Ang ethical na gawin is to comply. Itataas mo yung minimum wage or the wages of your employees. Okay, kaya lang again, may conflict. Pag tinaas mo yung wages ng employees, tataas ang expense mo. Liliit yung income mo. So, business ethics, okay, is concerned with that. Kapag meron na po tayong conflict, when you need to choose what is ethical. Okay? So, business ethics involves finding the answers to two questions. Number one, how do managers decide what is right in conducting their business? And number two, once managers have recognized what is right, how do they achieve it? For example, ganito yung mga scenarios na parang hindi mo alam kasi kung ano yung tama o mali. May empleyado nagnakaw. Okay, nagnakaw ng pera. Nung tinanong mo bakit siya nagnakaw, ang sagot niya, may anak kasi siya na nasa ospital. Okay, may anak siya nasa ospital, wala siyang pambayad. Oh, dramahan pa natin. Mamamatay yung anak niya kapag hindi siya nakapagbayad sa ospital ng operasyon. Yun yung mga di ba? Mga drama sa TV na napapanood mo. So, ano ang ethical na gawin? Okay? What is the ethical thing to do? Kasi business yan eh. So, doon nagkakamera ng conflict. Okay? Kung mabait ka, di ba kung mabait ka, palalampasin mo. Pero mas pangit yun when it comes to your management decision making. Okay? Dahil nagnakaw na nga, may rason lang. Ibig sabihin, okay lang magnakaw kung justified yung pagnanakaw. Ganun ba yun? Okay? O ipakukulong mo. Kasi nagnakaw siya eh, kakasuhan mo. Eh, yung anak niya nasa ospital pa, di ba? So, yun yung ano. So, how do managers decide on what is right? And then, kung na-identify na nila, how do they achieve it? Okay? Meron pong mga business owners na sobrang strict. Okay? Meron din naman na masyadong malambot. Okay? So, maganda minsan is to compromise in the middle. Ayan. So, forming areas of business ethics, equity, okay, equity, rights, honesty, exercise of corporate power. Ayan. Sa exercise of corporate power, ano pa nga yan eh, yung, uh, environmental issues, for example. O, diba, halimbawa, naglabas ng ordinance sa government, o ang waste disposal nyo dapat ganito. Kaya lang, mahal. So, gagawin mo ba o hindi? Okay, gagawin mo ba o hindi? Downsizing and plant closures. Okay, pag nag-downsize, katulad na halimbawa na nag-pandemic, pag nag-downsize, nagsara ka ng mga planta, maraming taong mawawala ng trabaho. Okay. So, paano mo babalansehin yung business ethics natin? Computer ethics concerns with the social impact of computer technology. Ayan. So, what are the main computer ethics issues? Number one dyan is the privacy. Okay. Siyempre, pag gumamit ka na ng computer, the data are stored digitally. So, ang main concern mo dito would be the privacy, especially for accounting at saka HR department. So, dapat yung mga na-store na information, okay, hindi yan lumalabas sa mga taong hindi dapat maka-access. Okay, especially for accounting. Ayan, parang ganito, nag-meeting kami before. Sinabi ko na kasi namin kay HR, kasi di ba kapag mga late kasi sa kumpanya, normally, pag halimbawa nakalimang late ka sa isang buwan, may memo kasi yan. May memo, di ba? Tapos, nagre-report kasi siya sa KPI, Key Performance Indicators. So, bawat department, meron silang mga evaluation every month. Ayan. Tapos, kasama sa evaluation, yung tardiness, okay, kung laging late or absent yung mga employees. So, sino po yung pwedeng mag-monitor yun? Si HR. Okay. Sinabi na namin kay HR na wag niyang i-post yung salaries ng mga empleyado. Bakit? Hindi dapat nalalaman ng ibang tao ang sweldo ng isa pang tao unless siya mismo yung mag-disclose. Okay? So, dapat ang may alam lang ng sweldo is the employee and then the management, the HR, accounting. Yun lang. Okay? Pero hindi niya pwedeng ikalat yung information na yun. Isang meeting, itong si HR, nagkamali na reporting. Nailagay niya yung per day ng mga empleyado. So, maraming nagalit. Okay? Maraming nagalit. Bakit? Kung mababa kasi, halimbawa, nasa factory, di ba? Tapos nagkataon, mababa yung per day mo. Okay, tapos nalaman ng ibang tao na mababa yung per day mo. Ano yung magiging effect nun, di ba? Ang tendency ng mga matataas yung sweldo compared sa'yo is i-under ka. Okay, parang mas boss sila. Okay, parang nawawala yung respeto sa mga tao. So, yun yung sinasabi natin with computer ethics, that you should protect the privacy of the information. Okay? Number two, security, accuracy, and confidentiality. Ayan, normal na yan kay, ah, kay accounting. Next, ownership of property. So, halimbawa, meron kang si company, meron din-develop na accounting software. Okay, bawal mong kopyahin yung software na yan para sa ibang kumpanya. Si accounting department, meron din-develop na monitoring Excel, for example. Hindi mo pwedeng dalhin yan. Okay? So, equity access, environmental issues, AI, unemployment and displays and misuse of computer. Okay? Based on experience, guys, with regards to computer ethics, yung dati kong company, bawal kang mag-copy-paste ng kahit anong information from your company-issued computers or laptops to any device. Okay. Meron siyang, nakaka-detect po yung IT department ng actually, 'di ba, sa iba naman na-disable yung USB, 'di ba? Yung amin, so disabled na yung USB. Okay, so hindi ka pwede magsaksak ng USB. Yung pangalawa niya, once gumamit ka ng computer ng company, tapos nag-email ka sa hindi supplier, hindi customer, or personal email mo, nag-email ka sa personal email mo, na ano na po, na trigger, okay, meron ng warning kay IT department. Tapos patatawag ka na. Automatic yun. Ayan. So, kapag nagtrabaho ka, be careful about copying. Okay, copying information or copying files from your company. Okay, minsan hindi mo alam, pero alam nila na may kinopya kang mga files, ganyan. Bakit po ginagawa ng ibang tao yon? Halimbawa, ahente ka, okay, nasa isang kumpanya ka, nakita mo yung list, okay, yung list ng mga possible na mga customers. Eh gusto mo na mag-freelance, kinopya mo ngayon yung list na yon. Okay, that's very unethical. Ang problema, ang ginawa mo sa pagkopya, sinend mo ngayon sa email mo, huli ka ngayon ng IT department. Okay? So those are the examples of computer ethics. Marami pong nawawala ng trabaho because of that. Okay, bakit? Start pa lang kasi ng employee-employer relationship nyo, pipirma ka pa lang ng employment contract, nakalagay na po yun. Bawal kang kumopya ng kahit anong file ng kumpanya. Ano pa? Ano pa ang example? Yung pagpiprint po ng files. Okay, dapat ano din tayo dun, ha? Kahit yung mga nagpa-part-time job dyan. Okay? Ang lahat po ng devices of the companies, meron niyang code. Okay, nakalink yan sa'yo. Halimbawa ako, yung sa dati kong company, once nag-print ako sa loob ng kumpanya, alam nila kung ano yung pinrint ko, ilang pages yung pinrint ko, kailan ko siya pinrint. Okay, meron po siyang mga ganong fail. So, mag-ingat tayo, okay, with copying, distributing, sharing of information and data. Ayan. Maraming nakakasuhan dyan. Okay? Legal definition of fraud. It is a false representation. Okay, may sinabi kang mali na nagkameron ng material fact. Na may material fact. Okay, or substantial information. And because of that, hindi pa yung because of that. And then sinabi mo siya or shinare mo siya because your intention is to deceive. Okay? And because of that, nagkameron ng misrepresentation resulting to a justifiable reliance on the information. And then that misrepresentation caused injury or loss. Anong example nun? Halimbawa, sinabi mo, nag-a-apply ka sa trabaho. Okay. Sinabi mo CPA ka. Okay, sinabi mo CPA ka. That's your false representation. And sinabi mo yon in order to deceive. Okay, para ikaw yung i-hire. Okay? And that is a material fact. So, ang hinahanap pala talaga nila is not just an accounting graduate but a certified public accountant. And because you said that you are a CPA, ikaw yung hinire nila. Tapos, nung nagtatrabaho ka na, ang daming mali-mali sa ginawa mo. That results to injury or loss. Okay? So, that is a legal definition of fraud. Ano pa? Ano pa yung legal definition? Ay, ano yung sample ng fraud natin? Okay, simple na lang. Bibili ka ng sasakyan. Okay, bibili ka ng sasakyan. Si dealer ng sasakyan, ang sabi niya, okay, bagong-bago tong sasakyan. Hindi pa masyadong nagagamit. Walang sira to. Eh, meron. Okay. Bakit niya sasabihin yun? The intention is to deceive para maibenta niya yung sasakyan. And that is a material fact. Kung ikaw ang bibili ng sasakyan, okay, bibili ka ng second hand na sasakyan, ang hinahanap mo syempre yung wala pang masyadong sira. Okay, or wala pang sira. Ayan. And because of that, dahil sinabi na wala naman siyang major na sira, binili mo yung sasakyan. Kaya lang pagkabili mo, after a month or two, yun, puro na pagawa. So, nag-result siya into injury or loss. Okay? So, that is a legal definition of fraud. Ayan. Kung nakapag-ano na tayo sa law, di ba, meron tayong may causal fraud at saka ano yung isa? I think this is intentional fraud. Okay? Ayan. So, meron tayong, that is your definitions of fraud. Ayan. So, meron tayong tinatawag na fraud triangle. Normally, this is discussed on your auditing theory. Ano? Paano daw nagkakameron ng fraud? Okay, paano nagkakameron ng fraud? Meron tayong tatlong ingredients to a perfect fraud. Ayan. Ano po yan? Number one is the pressure, motivation. Ito yung motivation, incentive to commit a fraud. This is your reason why you are committing the fraud. Halimbawa lang, yung team mo dapat makahit ng sales na 10 million per month. Eh, hindi kayo nakahit. Ang ginawa mo, inano mo na lang, binago mo yung information, yung data, para kunyari nakahit kayo. O, tapos ang nangyari, meron kayo ng bonus. Ayan. So, that is your motivation. Meron kang pressure. Okay. Ano yung second ingredient natin? Rationalization. Okay. This is the justification of dishonest actions. Anong ibig sabihin? Doon na lang tayo sa pinaka madali. Okay. Halimbawa, online class. Okay, online class. Third year ka na. Kailangan mong pumasa. Okay, pag hindi ka pumasa, madedelay ka ng isang taon. Tapos, merong exam. Online exam. Eh, alam mo, masasearch mo siya sa internet. Okay, masasearch mo siya sa internet. So, meron ka ng pressure. Okay, ang motivation mo, kailangan mong pumasa. No matter what. Kasi, wala ka ng pang-tuition, kailangan mo na makapagtrabaho. Okay, so that is your pressure. So, meron ka ng isang ingredient. Number two, rationalization. Eh, kasalanan naman ng teacher ko. Kasi yung nagbigay siya ng mga questions na masasearch sa internet, eh, alam naman niyang online yung class. So, alam mo namang mali, pero nira-rationalize mo siya. Okay, ginagawan mo ng justification kung bakit mo ginagawa yung fraud. Number three, meron kang opportunity. Dahil online yung exam, hindi ka nababantayan ng teacher mo, bukas ang internet mo, marunong kang mag-search sa internet, alam mo yung mga website kung saan makikita yung ano. So, meron ka ngayong opportunity. So, that is the perfect ingredient for a fraud triangle. Okay? Pressure, rationalization, opportunity. Okay? So, anong mangyayari? Kapag present lahat yan, definitely, magkakameron na ng fraud. Okay? Diyan pumapasok ang ethics. Okay? Diyan pumapasok ang ethics. Halimbawa, online class nga. So, meron kang pressure, rationalization, tsaka opportunity. Ang tanong, so meron kang perfect ingredient for the fraud, pwedeng-pwede at kayang-kaya mong gawin yung fraud. Ang tanong, meron ka bang ethics? Okay, kaya ba ng konsensya mo na pumapasa ka dahil nandadaya ka? Ay, yun yung tanong. O, gina-justify mo na lang na, ay, sa board exam na lang ako mag-aaral. Pero sa ngayon, ito muna, para lang makapasa, para lang makagraduate. Ayan. So, that is your fraud triangle. Okay. Yan yung maliliit. Ang malalaki niyan sa kumpanya. Okay? Nasa iyo yung pera. May opportunity ka. Hawak mo na yung pera. Ang rationalization mo, yung management naman, kulang-kulang yung pinapasweldo sa amin. So, kinukuha ko lang kung ano yung dapat sa akin. And then, ang pressure mo, syempre, kailangan mo yung pera. Okay? So, ang tanong, business ethics, gagawin mo ba? Dahil feeling mo, okay lang gawin. Ayan. So, that is your fraud triangle. Pero based on experience, basta present tong tatlong to, very minimal yung chance na walang fraud. Okay? So, dahil dyan, yan, nagkameron tayo ng, ewan ko kung napanood nyo na yung Enron. Normally, pinapapanood namin yan sa mga estudyante. Yung Enron, WorldCom, ayan. Pero ang pinaka-naging sikat is si Enron. Ano po yung nangyari dun kay Enron? Ang nasisi dyan mga accountants. Okay, mga certified public accountants. Bakit? Anong nangyari? Di ba meron tayong audit? So, ang ginawa nitong mga accountants, nagawa ng FS ang mga kumpanya, okay, ano ang purpose ng audit mo? The purpose of the audit is to lend credibility. Okay, to lend credibility to the assertions of the entity. Okay, to the financial statements of the entity. Hindi naman ikaw ang gagawa ng FS, but you are checking if there are material misstatements in the financial statements of the entity. Okay, kaya nagkakameron ng audit. You are trying to check kung nag-comply ba si entity sa mga standards set for accounting. Ayan. Ngayon, ang nangyari po kay Enron, nag-connive. Si business owner at saka si auditor, parang ganito yung scenario. Auditor, sabihin mo dyan maganda yung kumpanya namin. Okay? Hindi talaga totoo tong sales namin. Wala talagang ganyan. Pero nilagay namin dyan, kumikita yung kumpanya para maraming mag-invest. Ngayon, auditor, kailangan namin yung certification mo na tama yung FS namin. Ayan. So, anong kapalit nun normally? Siyempre, pera. So, si auditor, binigyan ng magandang rating, sina company, mga investors, bumuhos ang investment sa companies, pero hindi nila alam, wala talagang magandang business ng kumpanya. So, anong nangyari? Yung mga perang yun, napunta lang po sa management. Okay. Later on, nagsara ang kumpanya, nalugi yung mga investors, nawala ng trabaho ang mga empleyado, nagsara yung kumpanya. Okay. So, yun yung nangyari nung Enron na yun. So, meron ng recession noon. Tapos, ang daming mga questionable na decisions ng management at that time. Ang major nun is, naging selfish din yung mga tao. Okay? Personal interest yung inuuna. So, because of that, meron tayo ng Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Ito normally pang ibang bansa naman siya. Pero ang naging result nun is the corporate governance and responsibility. May meron po tayo ng ganito. Tapos, humigpit yung standards in auditing. Okay, humigpit yung standards natin in auditing. Ayan. So, sa fraud, meron tayong dalawa. Okay, dun kasi sa nangyari sa Enron, more on management fraud yun. Pero meron din tayong employee fraud. Okay, committed by non-management personnel. So, what happens? Normally, these are taking off cash or other assets for personal gain. Halimbawa, ito maliliit na bagay ha, pero fraud na to. Halimbawa, may anak ka na. Yung anak mo kailangan ng school supplies. Okay, kailangan ng school supplies. Nakita mo sa kumpanya, ang daming bond paper. Tapos, ang daming ballpen, ang daming lapis. Ang ginawa mo, araw-araw, kumukuha ka ng 2 ballpen, 2 lapis, tapos konting bond paper. So, every day for a week, kumuha ka ng ganon. Okay, tapos, minsan, kumukuha ka pa ng fastener, folder, okay, highlighter, ayan. Huwag mong dalhin yung printer ng kumpanya. Okay? Ayan. So, inuunti-unti mo. That is a form of employee fraud. Kasi you are taking assets of the company for personal gain. Ano pa? Inisyuhan ka ng kumpanya ng sasakyan. Okay. Sa halip na pumunta ka sa kliyente or sa customer or sa supplier, personal, okay, nakapag-date ka gamit yung sasakyan ng kumpanya, that is an employee fraud. Credit card ng kumpanya, ginagamit mo pang Shopee. Ayan, that is an employee fraud. Pero madaling ma-detect yun, ha? So, yun yung mga bagay na akala mo parang okay lang. Especially bond paper, nangyayari po ito sa tunay na buhay, everyday. Okay? Akala mo okay lang, marami namang bond paper yung kumpanya, kuha ko ng 10-10. Okay? O di kaya, nag-OJT ka ngayon, o di OJT, nagpa-part-time ka, nag-aaral ka. Okay? Tapos, meron kayong report. Okay? Yung report mo sa kumpanya mo pinrint doon sa pinagpa-part-timean mo. Okay lang, kasi marami na supplies yung kumpanya. Hindi pa rin. That is still a form of employee fraud. Bakit? Basta hindi sa'yo, huwag mong kunin. Yun lang yung, yung gist nun. Okay? Tapos, ang tanong mo pa, pag nahuli ka ba, okay lang? Yun. Okay? That is employee fraud. Maliliit na bagay, akala mo okay lang, still, employee fraud siya. Okay? Ano naman po yung management fraud? So normally, this is perpetrated at a management level. It frequently involves financial statements to create an illusion that an entity is more healthy and prosperous than it actually is. It involves misappropriation of assets and frequently is shrouded in a maze of complex business transactions. Ang most common example of management fraud, okay, is doctoring your financial statements. For example, gusto mong mangutang sa bangko. If you are trying to get a loan from a bank, anong kailangan mong palabasin? May income o wala ang company? So, ang kailangan mo, may sales ang company, may income ang company malaki para mapautang ka ng bangko. Wala nga ang pera yung kumpanya. Okay? So, ang gagawin mo ngayon, iti-tweak mo yung financial statements para kunyari, may income ang kumpanya. So, that's a management fraud. Okay? Ano pa? Ayaw mong magbayad ng tax. Okay, ang ginawa mo, dinamihan mo yung expenses para lumiit ang income mo. That is also a management fraud. Okay? Next. Ano po yung fraud schemes natin? Ang tanong mo naman, bakit po pinag-aaralan natin yung mga ways para ng fraud? Okay, these are discussed para as auditors, alam mo kung ano yung babantayan mo. Hindi ka namin tinuturuan na maggawa ng fraud, okay? Or mag-create, or ayan, sa company mo. Tinuturo ito sa iyo para later on, pag nag-audit ka na, you know how to detect frauds. Okay? Ano yung isa? Fraudulent statements, corruption, and then asset misappropriation. Fraudulent statements, yun nga, misstating the financial statements. Okay? Pag assets, anong tendency mo? Is to overstate your asset. Wala ka namang cash, naglagay ka ng cash. Okay? Pag liability, ang tendency mo is to understate the liability. Okay? So those are your fraudulent statements. Corruption. Ito yung maliliit lang din, akala mo okay lang. Bribery, illegal gratuities, conflicts of interest, economic extortion. Anong example niyan? Si purchasing department, kakilala, okay, kakilala niya yung supplier, sige, willing si company magbayad hanggang ganito, ito yung maximum. Magbigay ka ng quotation sa ganitong amount. Okay, ano pa? Yung guardia, binibigyan ng alak, binibigyan ng pangyosi, binibigyan ng 20, 50. Okay, those are small forms of bribery. Ayan, bakit? Para hindi ka na pumila, para hindi ka mag-antay. Okay, bribery pa rin siya. Legal gratuities. Okay. You know, ang maganda with Japanese companies, they do not allow yung pagbibigay ng gifts unless mag-solicit sila sa'yo. Anong ibig sabihin ng solicitation? Yung magsusulat sila sa'yo, halimbawa Christmas party, pang raffle lang nila, nag-solicit sa'yo. Okay, pwede ka magbigay. Pero yung bigla ka lang magre-regalo sa kahit kaninong empleyado, Japanese companies, hindi sila pumapayag sa ganun. Ayan. So, ang ganda ng actually, maganda ang patakbo ng Japanese company. Okay, medyo malinis sila dito. Asset misappropriation, normally ginagawa to ng employees. Okay, sa employee fraud. Okay? Ang common example niyan is theft of asset, especially cash. Ano yung common na scheme nila? Lapping. Okay? Using customers' check from one account to cover theft from a different account. Nagamit mo tong cash na to, okay, may nagbayad, nagamit mo, ang ginawa mo, may nagbayad ng isa pa, hindi mo muna declare yung isa. Ginamit mo yung isa, ito lang muna i-declare mo. Eh, kailangan mo nang i-declare, may nagbayad ulit. Yun yung panakit mo. Okay? Yun yung ginagawa sa lapping. Lapping and kiting yung normal. So, those are forms of asset misappropriation. Okay? Kaya ako tinanong kung meron na kayong auditing theory. Kasi, part of fraud, okay, part of the detection of fraud and prevention of fraud is your internal control. Okay, internal control. Dapat familiar ka na dito, ha? Internal control, okay, ang objectives natin dito is safeguarding of assets, ensuring the accuracy and reliability of accounting records and information, promoting efficiency of firm's operation, and then to measure the compliance with the management prescribed policies and procedures. Ayan. Yun kasing mga fraud na diniscuss natin could be prevented through internal controls. Okay, through internal controls. Paano? For example, sa cash. Okay. Iba yung nagre-record sa tumatanggap ng cash. Okay, so at the end of the day, sabi ni natanggap ng cash, ito yung cash on hand ko. Sabi ni nagre-record, dapat ang cash mo ganito kasi ito yung na-record ko na nagbayad. Internal control. Ano pa? Hindi pwedeng basta-basta kumuha ng company, yung mga supplies. Okay, normally merong warehouse man or logistics, okay, na nagmo-monitor kung pwede kang kumuha ng supplies. Yun yung mga maliliit pero part of your internal control. Okay? In auditing, guys, di ba? Meron ka munang risk assessment procedures. Sana familiar na, okay? Risk assessment procedures. Pag tinanggap mo, so pre-engagement activities, okay, tinanggap mo yung engagement, magpo-perform ka na ng risk assessment procedures. Sa risk assessment, your objective is to know, okay, to understand the entity. Okay, to understand the business, to understand the entity. Those are your risk assessment procedures. After understanding of the entity, saka ka nagte-test of controls. Okay, test of controls. Okay? Pag po maganda ang internal, if the internal control risk is low, okay, ibig sabihin magandang internal control, your audit procedures is lower. Okay? Ibig sabihin, effective ang internal control, pwede mong babaan, okay, pwede mong untian yung audit control procedures mo. But if the internal control risk is high, okay, tataasan mo rin ang audit procedures mo. Okay? Kasi mas malamang yung chance of material misstatement. Okay? So, internal controls are there to safeguard your asset to ensure accuracy. So, modifying assumptions. Okay? Ang assumption is, ang internal control is the management responsibility. Sino ang nagsiset up ng internal control? Si management. Okay? The cost of achieving objectives of internal control should not outweigh the benefits. And then the last one is the techniques used. Okay, the techniques used in achieving the objectives will vary in different types of technology. Ayan. So, discuss natin isa-isa. Naghang ba? Nasa limitations na ako. Ba't hindi limitations of internal control. Ayan. Limitations of internal controls. Ayan. So, kahit kasi meron ka ng internal controls, ay ano ba yung mga sample, yung mga maliliit lang na example of internal controls? Halimbawa, The company should assure that only authorized persons will be able to enter the building or the premises. Okay, di ba ganyan naman lagi? Authorized personnel only. Okay, ayan. Balik tayo. So, yung maliliit na example of internal controls natin, for example, so bawal pumasok sa premises if hindi authorized personnel or hindi empleyado. Ninala ko. Ayan. So, ano po yung pwede mong internal control doon? So, meron kang biometrics, may gwardiya, okay? Dapat may suot na ID. So, those are the small examples of internal controls. Okay? Ano pa? Pagdating sa computer, sa accounting information system, di ba usually meron kang username and password? Okay? Tapos yung account mo, ito lang yung limitations mo, ito lang yung pwede mong gawin. So if you are an accounting department, sa accounting department ka, hindi ka pwedeng gumalaw dun sa production. Okay? Hindi ka pwedeng gumalaw sa sales. Ayan. Sa procurement. So normally dun ka lang sa payment, sa pagre-receive ng collections. Okay? Yan. Kaya lang may limitations po ang internal controls natin. Number one, there is a possibility of errors. So, syempre, kahit pa computerized yan, tao pa rin naman yung nag-encode. So, there are possibilities of errors. Number two, circumvention or collusion. So, ito yung nagko-collude or nag-uusap yung two or more employees in order to defraud the company. Okay, nagtutulungan sila. Then management override. Ang management override ganito. Accountant ka, sinabi mo kay management, ito yung tax na babayaran natin. Sabi ni management, pababain mo. That's management override. So kahit pa meron kang internal control, kahit tama yung recording mo of the transactions, kaya pag sinabi ni management na ganun, kailangan mo sumunod. Okay, kahit pa mali yun. So, ang ano mo is yung business ethics mo. So, pwede mo i-insist management, you hired me for a specific duty and hindi ito kasama sa pinag-usapan natin. Pwede ganun. So, ano ba, di ba, again, dyan papasok yung business ethics. Yung kapalitan, possible na mawalan ka ng trabaho. Ayan. So, again, limitation siya ng internal control, management override. Okay. Ano pa yung maliliit nga na example? Halimbawa, bawal pumasok kapag walang biometrics. Okay, tapos sinabi ni manager, kaibigan ko yan, papasukin mo. Management override. Okay. Changing conditions. So, especially companies with high growth. Ayan. Biglang meron ng changes dun sa volume ng transactions, sa klase ng transactions. So, possible that the internal controls in place should also be changed. Ayan, kailangan na siyang i-modify. Okay? Ano po yung pwedeng mangyari if your internal control is weak? So, syempre, destruction of asset, theft, corruption, disruption of information system. Okay? So, para ma-visualize natin, yan po yung visualization of your internal control. This is your internal control. Okay? Ang main concern kasi ni internal control is the protection of your asset. Okay? Ngayon, if your internal control is weak, may mga butas or exposures, okay, yung mga undesirable events, pwedeng makalusot. Okay? Pwede siya makalusot. Ayan. So, dapat, as much as possible, strong yung internal control natin. Halimbawa, um, hindi naman maiiwasan. Meron pa rin undesirable events na nakakalusot. Okay. Your internal control should have preventive controls muna yung tawag natin. Preventive meaning to say hindi pwedeng pumasok. Okay, di ba? Halimbawa, papasok ka sa isang website. Okay, papasok ka, magagawa ka ng account. Di ba? Halimbawa, gagawa ka ng YouTube account. Okay, di ba tinatanong if you are 18 years old or older? So, those are preventive events. Okay, preventive events. So, o di kaya, ano ka, nagta-transfer ka ng pera. Di ba magta-transfer ka ng pera? Ito yung isa sa maganda. Magta-transfer ka, online banking. Anong nangyayari po? Anong normal na ginagawa ng bangko o di kaya ng mga e-wallets before makapag-transfer ng pera? Sige nga kung nandyan kayo. Tanungin natin si Kasabal, Kathleen. Kathleen Kasabal. Wala ka. Mag-absent ka. Okay, sige. Si Rain Sydney Villapando. Rain Sydney Villapando. Wala. So normally, okay, preventive controls tayo. Anong ginagawa ng mga banks or mga e-wallets before makapag-transfer ng pera to another account? May isinesend sa'yo, di ba? Anong tawag natin doon? Anyone? Anyone?
Ma'am, yun po ba yung OTP?
Okay, very good. That is your OTP. Okay, sino yun?
Bandarlite po.
Yan. Okay. So normally, 'di ba, that is a form of preventive control. Okay? 'Di ba, magta-transfer ako halimbawa from my GCash account. Okay, tapos may ta-transferan akong iba. Normally, merong authorization tayong tinatawag. Okay, sa iba, merong nagse-send ng OTP or one-time password. So, hindi magpo-push through yung transaction kung mali yung one-time password or one-time PIN na ilalagay mo. Okay, that is a part or a form of preventive control. Okay, ano pa? Yung ano, kapag magla-login ka, okay, di ba humihingi ng password, that is a preventive control. Okay? Halimbawa, talagang nakalusot doon sa preventive. Okay. So, may magnanakaw talaga. Undesirable event. Meron din tayong next layer which is the detective control. Anong nangyayari dito? For example, meron kang credit card. Ang mga credit card companies ngayon, kapag may gumamit ng credit card mo, nag-i-email or nagte-text. Okay, nag-i-email or nagte-text. Tapos anong nakalagay doon? If you did not make this transaction, kindly immediately call this number. Okay, di ba ganun yon? That is a detective control. Ibig sabihin, na-detect na may transaction na nangyari. If you are not the authorized person to do the transaction, feeling mo may ibang taong gumawa nun, i-report mo agad. So that is a detective control. Nakalampas siya sa preventive, dapat meron kang detective. Ngayon, after detective, dapat meron siyang corrective. Anong ibig sabihin ng corrective? Yung nangyaring transaction, either mare-reverse or mako-correct. Okay. So, yung normaling corrective actions niyan, kailangan mo na magpalit ng password, kailangan mong i-hold yung card mo, so on and so forth. Kailangan mong magpalit ng mga or magsagot ng mga ng mga yung mga questions. Ayan. So, those are your preventive, detective, and corrective controls, which should be part of your internal control. Okay. Kapag kompleto yan, medyo malakas or maganda or efficient yung internal control mo. In terms of auditing, mas lesser yung audit procedures na kailangan gawin ni auditor. Okay? Kailangan magiging lenient ba si auditor? Hindi naman. Okay? Ayan. Hindi natin, ito. So, control structure, auditor's assessment of risk and planning of audit procedure. Sabi natin, di ba? Tinanggap mo yung engagement, nakapag-risk assessment procedure ka na. So, magkagawa ka ngayon ng test of controls. Okay? Yun yung ina-assess mo, yung internal control of the entity. Paano po nag interact itong tatlo? Internal control, assessment of risk, and planning audit procedures. Again, once the internal control structure is efficient, mababa yung internal control risk. Okay? Your planning of the audit procedures could be lesser. Okay? Less intensive. Okay? But if the internal control of the entity or the assessment of risk is high, okay, while planning your audit procedures must be extensive. Okay, dapat extensive na siya kasi kapag hindi po efficient yung internal control. So, merong mga transactions na hindi na i-record, may mga assets na nawawala. So, mas marami yung audit procedures na kailangan yung gawin. Okay? That is the interaction of these three. Internal control, assessment of risk, and planning of audit procedure. So, meron tayong internal control components. Number one is the control environment. Yan. That is the ethics and integrity of the management, organizational structure. So, basically, kung effective ba or kung kamusta or efficient ba yung control environment of the entity. Okay, may policies in place ba? Maganda ba yung organizational structure? May delegation ba ng responsibility? Okay. Number two is the risk assessment. Okay, you are analyzing the risk relevant to financial reporting. Meron tayong mga external risk, halimbawa, ayun, katulad ng pandemic. Okay, so meron ka ng ano doon na possible na mayroong mali sa financial reporting. Okay, kasi gusto ni company ipakita na may going concern siya. Ayan, downsizing, product lines, information and communication. Okay, for AIS, okay, the AIS should produce high quality information which identifies and records all valid transactions. So, ang audit assertion natin dito would be the completeness. Provides timely information in appropriate detail to permit proper classification and financial reporting. So, dito ay classification. Classification, presentation, and disclosure. Kay accuracy, accurately measures the financial values, tama or appropriate yung measurement of the transactions, and then accurately records the transaction in the time period or the cut-off assertion, okay, in which they occurred. So your accounting information system should be able to um, process the transactions in an accurate, timely, and complete manner. Okay, kailangan lahat, tapos kailangan accurate din tama yung accounting period niyo. Okay? In light of that, during your audit, the auditor should have sufficient knowledge of the information system. Okay. So, normally, ang ginagawa natin dyan, during your risk assessment procedure, okay, nagpaparun through tayo sa accountant. Okay. Pag dito sa, halimbawa, nag-process kayo ng ganitong transaction, paano nyo siya ginagawa? Paano nyo pinapasok ang sales? Paano yung expenses? Okay, paano yung salaries and wages? Automatic ba yung computation? Okay, so you should have sufficient knowledge of the information system. Question, kailangan ba kung hindi ka knowledgeable dun sa information system, dapat tanggihan mo na yung audit transaction. Halimbawa, may lumapit sa'yo papa-audit, tapos hindi mo alam yung information system na gamit nila. The answer is no. You can still accept. Okay, you can still accept the engagement provided that you will try to obtain sufficient knowledge and understanding of that information system. Okay, i-equip mo yung sarili mo. Okay? Output tayo. Input, process, output. Yung dapat alam ni auditor when it comes to information or EAS. So, sa input would be the classes of transactions. Okay, paano siya i-initiate and paano siya nire-record. So, process would be from initiation to inclusion in the financial statements. Paano siya na ipapasok dun sa system? And then yung output is, pag ipinasok siya sa system, saan siya sa financial statements lalabas. Ayan. Then monitoring, quality of internal control design. Test of control, yun ang gawing monitoring, routine. Then control activities. So, ano lang to, policies and procedures. Ayan. So, meron tayong two distinct categories for control activities, the IT controls and the physical controls. Okay, pag sinabi nating IT controls, these are related to the computer environment. Dun lang sa system. Okay, na ginagamit ni entity. Pag physical controls pertain to the physical locations, physical assets. Okay? Yan. So, two types of IT controls. So, dapat two categories tayo, di ba? IT at saka physical. Sa IT, meron tayong general controls and then meron tayong application controls. Okay? For general controls, normally, ano lang to? Nag-a-apply for databases. Okay, sa mga database. For example, yung list of employees, okay, organizational structure, tapos mga authorization, those are general control, system development, maintenance, ayan. Application controls, ganun, pwede din yung authorization, halimbawa, processing of sales. Pwede bang mag-process itong yung, kasi bawat employee, meron kang employee code, tapos may password, okay? Parang sa Facebook, ganyan. So, sa accounting system, may sarili kang account. So, papasok mo yun. Pwede ka bang mag-process ng ganito? Transaction. Okay. Tapos, halimbawa, nagpasok kasi employee ng expenses. Okay, automatically ba lalabas na yung pera for that expense? So, meron po tayo normally na authorization. Okay, especially for yung mga fund transfers, ayan, yung mga releasing of checks. So, for application controls, normally, ano yan, tatlong levels. So, may isang nag-encode, may nag-approve, tapos may isa pang authorization. Okay, so those are your IT controls. Bihirang-bihira po yung transaction involving AIS na isa lang yung taong involved. Okay, normally meron talaga siyang taga-authorize. And then, most of the time, limited lang yung access of each individual. And then, may mga controls din. For example, si employee 1, siya yung nag-encode. So, siya yung input. Okay? Si employee 2, siya lang yung pwedeng mag-edit at mag-delete. Okay? Si employee 1, hindi siya pwedeng mag-delete. Hindi siya pwedeng mag-edit. Ganun po yung normal na IT controls natin. Dun sa former work ko, lahat ng employees pwedeng mag-add kasi tatlo yung normal na buttons on add, edit, and delete. Okay, lahat ng employees pwedeng mag-add. So, depende kung kung anong department ka. So, kami, sa accounting department, meron kaming add, edit, and delete. Kami lang yung meron nun. Sila puro add lang. Bago nila ma-delete, bago nila ma-edit yung information, kailangan dumaan sa amin for authorization. Ayan. So, that is one example of IT control. Ayan. So, halimbawa, na-encode na ni sales. Okay, yung sales na pumasok, nagkamali siya. Kailangan niyang baguhin. Pwede pa rin naman niyang baguhin. But, the sales personnel needs authorization from a higher position, from the supervisor or from the accounting department. Ayan. So, ito yung IT controls, meron pa tayong physical controls. Meron tayong transaction authorization, segregation of duty, supervision, counting records, access control, and independent verification. Meron po itong counterpart when it comes to to IT controls. Okay, itong anim na to. Okay, yung physical control natin, transaction authorization, it ensures that employees carrying out only authorized transactions. So normally, pagkapasok mo ng transaction sa information system, hindi siya agad basta-basta pupunta sa FS. For example, sales, nagpasok ka, nasa FS agad. For expense, nasa FS agad. Meron pang nag-authorize niyan. So normally, merong staff, tapos merong supervisor, tapos may manager pa. Okay na nag-authorize ng transactions. Wait lang. Okay, so those are transaction authorization. Halimbawa, may nag-request, kailangan namin ng raw materials. Hindi naman basta may nag-request, kailangan ng bumili. Okay, meron pa rin authorization ng transaction. For big companies, minsan ganito yung ginagawa nila. If the purchase, for example, is 10,000 and below, wala nang authorization. Okay. However, kapag nag-above 10,000 yung purchase, meron niyang series of authorizations. Lalo na kung halimbawa, nag-set sila, pag 500, pag halimbawa ganito, below 10,000, okay lang, go. Pag above 10,000 na, the supervisor will have, or the supervisor needs to authorize the transaction. Kaya na, pag nag-500,000 na siya, the vice president, for example, for finance, okay, needs to authorize the transaction. So, merong mga ganyan minsan sa physical controls. Minsan, siya, dapat written authorization. Then later, sa counterpart ng IT, puntahan natin mamaya. Okay? Ito pa, meron tayong general o meron din tayong specific transactions. So, normally, yung mga general na, yung routine, okay, yung mga lagi namang binibili, yan, hindi na normally binibigyan ng authorization. Pero yung mga specific, na purchase ng land, na purchase ng equipment, yan, meron talaga siya dapat authorization. Then, segregation of duties. Okay, alam nyo na ba to? Na dapat yung tatlong duties na magkakahiwalay would be the recording, the custody, and the authorization. Hindi pwedeng iisang tao to. Recording, custody, and authorization. Okay, hindi pwedeng iisa lang siya. Kapag may isang nag-record, dapat hindi siya yung may hawak ng item. Bakit? Kasi kung siya na yung may hawak, pag binawasan nyo to, pwede niya baguhin yung record. Okay? So, dapat magkaiba yung nagre-record, iba yung humahawak na asset. Tapos, bukod pa yung taong nag-authorize. Okay? Ayan. So, segregation of duties sa manual system, separation between authorization, custody, and subtasks. So, computerized would be coding, processing, and maintenance. Ayan. Supervision, compensation for lack of segregation. Ayan. Minsan, si supervision kasi, tinatanggal na siya as part ng system, ng part ng processes kung meron ka ng computerized system. Okay? Meron ng computer programs na siya mismo yung nagsusupervise. Okay? In short, nakakatulong po si computer system sa pag-unti na kailangan mong i-hire na employees or sa pag-unti ng processes. So, nagkakameron ng nakalimutan ko yung term. Hindi ko mahanap yung term. Pero napapaliit, napapaikli yung processes. Ayan. So, yung mga non-value adding processes na pwede nang built-in sa program ni computer, nilalagay na lang, including supervision. Halimbawa, guys, time in and time out. Okay, time in and time out. Di ba biometrics na ngayon? So, napakalaking physical control na nun. Na alam ko kung nasa loob ka ng opisina based on your biometrics. Okay, kasi hindi magagawa ng ibang tao ang biometrics para sa'yo. Okay, pag kasi lista-lista lang yan, tapos pirma-pirma, di ba? Pare malilate ako, pakilag naman ako. Pwede. Okay, pero pag biometrics na yan, computerized na yung system, hindi na pwede mangyari yun. Ano pa yun? Nagtatap ng ID, facial recognition, fingerprint. Those are the types of na nababawasan na po yung supervision. Hindi na kailangan ng taong magbabantay ng time in and time out mo if you have the biometrics. Then, accounting records, provide audit trail. Pag physical controls, tapos meron kang physical accounting records, mas madaling mag-audit. Access control, safeguard access by restricting physical access. Okay, for example, sa cash, pwede lang humawak ng cash, pwede lang, o di kaya pwedeng mag-withdraw na authorized signatory is the Vice President for Finance. Okay, so those are types of So those are the types of access controls. For example pa, ewan ko nakakita na kayo ng mainframes. Okay, yung parang yung maraming umiilaw ng mga sa computer sa computer systems ng mga companies. Ayan. So yun po, normally restricted ang access. Restricted yung access. Hindi pwedeng basta-basta pumunta yung mga employees. Kasi maraming information na makikita. And then, independent verification, reviewing a batch of totals for reconciling subsidiary accounts. Yan. So, this one, parang general ledger versus subsidiary ledgers. Okay? So, check mo yung balance na lumabas kay general ledger, tapos pag-add-addin mo lahat ng subsidiary account kung nagbabalance. Okay? So, control objectives, number 1, dapat magkabukod yung authorization and processing. Number 2, si authorization, custody, and recording. And then number 3, si journal, subsidiary ledger, and general ledger. Normally, lalo na yung number 3, normally dapat iba-ibang tao yung nagre-record dyan. Hindi pwedeng iisa. Okay? Bakit? Kasi nga, dapat at the end of the accounting period, bangga itong tatlong to. Dapat nagbabangga sila. Okay? Kapag iisang tao nagre-record yan, kaya niyang pagbawag na banggain. Ayan. So, punta tayo dun sa same physical controls, pero in terms of IT. So, transaction authorization, normally po yan, ayan, for example, ito. Meron na tayong tinatawag na reorder point. Okay. Hindi na kailangan ng taong mag-check kung may inventory pa. Si system na mismo yung nagsasabi na below ka na. Okay, halimbawa, sinet mo siya. O, kapag ang paper na to, 500 na lang, automatic na mag-o-order. Okay, so wala nang human intervention, that is your reorder point. So once na-detect ni system na ganito na lang kababa ang inventory level, automatic, magagawa na siya ng purchase order. Or ipoprompt ka na niya na maggawa ng purchase order. Segregation of duties, computer program may perform many tasks that are deemed incompatible. Okay. Normally, isang tao na lang yung gumagawa. Encode, tapos si computer program na yung bahala. Okay. So, sa IT context, pwede naman po yun. So, thus, they need to separate program development, operators, and maintenance. Supervision, the ability to assess competent employees becomes more challenging due to greater technical knowledge required. Ayan. So, minsan, kapag mag-a-apply kayo ng trabaho sa accounting, tinatanong if you have knowledge on ganitong accounting system, ang normally tinatanong is SAP. Ayan. So, kaya tinatanong ko din sa school kung meron kayong access sana. Okay, kung meron kayong pwedeng gamitin na software. Kasi mahalaga yun. Dati kami binibigyan pa kami talaga ng certificate ng SAP. Ayan. Accounting records. So, source documents are kept magnetically. So, normally, wala na tayong physical na documents. So, mas mahirap po yung audit trail. Kaya lang, sa computer nga, okay, sa ibang software, may button lang doon. Actually, may button na siya mismo ng audit trail. Lalabas na po yung audit trail. Sino yung nag-encode, sino yung nag-process, nakalagay doon, isa-isa. Bawat galaw ng transaction. Okay. So, kung may nag-tweak ng system, nakalagay din doon kung sino, then kung ano yung ginawa niya. Yun naman yung kagandahan ng IT. Yan, access control. So, normally, hindi ka makakapag-access. Ang IT environment kasi ganito guys, bumili ka ng isang buong software. For example, ang imagine nyo is manufacturing. Bumili ka ng isang buong software, tapos meron niya mga modules. Sales, materials, production, purchasing, ganyan, and so on and so forth. Okay. Kung ako ay sales lang, hindi ko magagalaw yung ibang modules. So, those are access controls. Okay. Kung ako naman ay accounting department, normally, hindi ko pwedeng galawin yung sa production. Pag production ako, hindi ako pwedeng gumalaw sa accounting. Okay, so those are accounting controls in terms of sa IT. The independent verification, ayan, the computer rather than manual. So, meron din tayong application controls. Diba kanina, general controls? By general controls normally are for databases. Si application controls are for specific applications. Okay? This affects the manual procedures or the embedded procedures. Okay? Ito medyo makakaano tayo. Makaka-relate tayo. So, meron tayong two normal causes of input error. Transcription, mali yung character or value na nailagay. Again, diba pag IT tayo, pag IT environment na, meron pa rin kasi human errors. That is one of the limitations. Okay. So, isa din is a transcription error. Nagkamali ka na nilagay. Ang nailagay mo, ang binili sa customer A, ang bumili pa lang sa customer B. Okay. Ang nailagay mo, 100 units yung in-order niya, 1,000 pala. Okay, so those are transcription errors. Meron din namang transposition errors. Right characters are value but in the wrong place. Okay, right characters are value but in the wrong place. Nag-encode ka, customer information, okay, ang nailagay mo sa address, telephone number. Okay, so nagkapalit. Okay. So, paano natin may iiwasan yung mga input controls na yun? So, check for transcription and transposition errors. So, for example, ito yung dapat, ito lang yung di ba pag nag-ano tayo, pag nag-i-encode tayo online, gumagawa ka ng account, okay? Nakalagay doon kung ano yung characters na pwede, hanggang ilang characters lang, okay? Then, missing data checks for blanks or incorrect justifications. So, for example, di ba, yung may mga asterisk na red, dapat may laman yon. Pag hindi mo siya nilagyan ng data, hindi ka nag-encode, hindi ka pwedeng mag-proceed to the next page. Ayan. Numeric alphabetic checks. Ayan, verifies that our characters are in correct form. For example, ang hinihingi telephone number, hindi ka pwedeng mag-encode ng alphabet. Ayan, dapat numeric codes lang. Okay? Limit checks. So, values are beyond, identifies values beyond preset limit. So, for example, pag gumagawa kami ng grades, okay? Tapos ang lumabas doon, yung grade ng estudyante, 110%, hindi siya pwedeng ituloy. Okay, hindi siya pwedeng ituloy. Those are the limit checks. Okay, hindi yung mga nagbibigay ng control kung hanggang saan lang yung value. Okay, pinipreset. Next, range checks. Identifies values outside the upper and lower bounds. Ganun din. So, pwede ka lang mag-encode, for example, from 10 to 20. Okay, yun lang yung values na pwede mong ilagay. Ano pa? Pag nilagay yung age mo, hindi pwede mag-encode yung below 18. Pero dapat above 18, below 65. Ayan. So, those are the range checks. Okay, reasonableness check. Compare one field to see if relationship is appropriate. And then, validity checks. Compares values to known standard values. Ayan. So, normally, itong mga input controls na to, nagagamit mo na yan ang hindi mo alam pag gumagawa tayo ng mga accounts online. Ayan. Lalo na pag gagawa ka ng password, di ba? Normally, sasabihin niya, must be at least 8 digits, alphanumeric, with special character. Okay? Bawal yung values like your birth date, bawal yung values like your name. Okay? So, those are application input controls. Okay? In accounting, this is very important. Lalo na kapag nagpapasok ka ng sales, nagpapasok ka ng expenses, so on and so forth. Okay, meron din tayong, kasi ito ay input, meron din tayong processing controls. So these are program processes that transform input data into information for output. Normally, for IT system, nawawala na kasi yung manual processing. Pagka-input mo ng information, diretso na siya actually sa financial statements. Ayan. So, meron tayong tatlong categories: batch, run-to-run, and then audit trail controls. So, for batch, they reconcile output with the input originally entered into the system. Okay? So, halimbawa, nag-encode ka ng sa isang buwan, merong 10 sales. So, dapat meron ding 10 sales invoices. Okay? So, binibilang mo, nagsimula ka sa series number 001, dapat hanggang 010 siya. Okay? So, those are the batch controls. Sa vouchers, sa checks na in-issue, okay, dun ginagamit yung batch controls. Run controls are used to batch figures to monitor the batch as it moves from one program procedure to another. So, for example, gumawa ka ng payable vouchers. Okay, ito yung mga accounts payable mo. Dapat pag magpe-payment ka na, okay, hindi siya lalampas sa number nun. So, kung 10 yung payable voucher mo, 10 yung accounts payable mo, dapat 10 cheque lang din yung magagawa mo. Those are the run-to-run controls. Kung lumampas man siya, dapat ma-identify niya alin yung mga payables na hinati mo. Kaya nagdoble yung payment or nagdalawa yung payment. Okay, then audit trail controls are logs used that every transaction can be traced. Yun nga, sabi ko sa inyo, sa IT system ngayon, sa auditing, sa accounting information system normally, pag kinlik mo si audit trail, lalabas na sino ang nag-encode, sinong nag-edit, sinong nag-approve, kailan, anong oras. Okay, ganun na po yung audit trail ngayon in an IT environment. That's why yung diniscuss kanina, dapat knowledgeable si auditor with the information system. Pag hindi kasi, malilito talaga siyang mag-audit. Okay? So, input, process, output. So, normally, dito may human intervention. Tapos ito, IT na. Computerized ito. Yung embedded program. And then, reports na agad. Financial statement na po yung output niya normally. So, these are backup controls. Hindi naman tayo masyadong magpo-focus na. So, then these are output controls. Okay, yun nga, meron kang input, process, output. For output controls naman, the goal is to ensure that the system output is not lost, misdirected, or corrupted. Okay, and that the privacy is not violated. Okay? So, sa accounting kasi guys, pag nag-audit, okay, to ensure the output controls, ang ginagawa ni auditor normally is to rerun. Okay? Ang term natin ay parang rerun nga. Ginagawa mo ulit independently yung transaction. So, halimbawa, mag-e-encode sa system, si accounting department, ikaw as auditor, ang gagawin mo, manual. Okay, manual. Dapat yung output mo would be equivalent to the output of the computerized system. Pag may differences, ibig sabihin either corrupted, misdirected, or lost in information kay accounting system. Ayan. Kaya normally kapag nagde-develop tayo ng AIS, kasama din talaga sina auditor, sina accountant. Ayan. Pwede din, ngayon, re-performance yung tawag. Pwede din, si auditor, mag-e-encode din siya sa system, titingnan niya kung tama, kung saan na entry, saang account pumasok, ayan. So, re-performance. Pwedeng manual, pwedeng through the system. Okay, to check the application output controls. Output spooling. Hindi ko alam kung ano nyo na to, sa pag nagpiprint ka minsan or nagda-download ka. Actually, sa printing to eh. Tapos may nakalagay doon sa printer mo na spooling. Ibig sabihin, nagsasave siya sa ibang location. Okay? Halimbawa, from the email, ipiprint mo. Hindi siya agad magpiprint lang basta. Nag-i-spool siya. Nagsisave siya ng ibang file. Okay? Doon sa ibang location. Meaning to say, pwede siyang i-access ng ibang tao. Okay, so printing has two risks: production of unauthorized copies, and then employee browsing sensitive data. So we should be very careful of printing. These are part of output controls. Ha? So, di ba, minsan kasi wala ngang access si ibang employee. Ang ginawa naman ng employee na mag-access, pinrint niya, tapos napabayaan niya sa desk niya. So, that's part of your output controls dapat. Okay? So, waste, normally for accounting, kapag hindi na kailangan yung papel, shredding agad. Okay, sineshred na agad siya, hindi siya itinatabi. Okay? And then, distribution of report, dapat kay authorized users lang. Ano yung mga dapat na sensitive tayo? Secure mailboxes, dapat yung authorized email lang. Okay, ngayon, uso na sa employee, binibigyan na. Pagka employee mo, binibigyan ka na ng company email address. Ayan. And then, dapat na-receive. So, pinapasign yung reports in person. Okay? And then, na hindi na digital. Okay? Hindi isa-send yung signature. Dapat pinapasign siya in person. And then, to deliver the reports to the user. So, normally dito, meron tayong ginagamit na mga receiving reports. Para may proof ka na pa-receive mo dun sa tamang user. Tapos, hindi siya napunta sa kamay in the hands of unauthorized users. So, end user controls, ayan, yun nga, normally shredding, pag tapos sensitive yung reports, shred na siya agad. And then, controlling digital output, so can be intercepted, ayan. So, syempre, pag nag-email tayo, di ba, nagta-transfer ng information, so dapat we are aware that this information can be disrupted, destroyed, or corrupted. So, tapos meron tayong mga viruses, ganyan, may mga nagha-hack. So, dapat meron tayong application output controls. So, normally, dito kay digital output, ito nga yung, katulad ng kwento ko kanina, bawal kang mag-send ng information sa unauthorized email addresses. Ayan. So, kapag personal yung email address, nagkakameron na agad ng trigger kay IT department na itong user na to, naglalabas siya ng information. Okay? Same with printing, etc. Ayan. Hopefully, okay, your exam guys is tomorrow. Padagdag na lang, we will have true or false questions. Okay? So, dahil 1.5 lang siya, siguro mga 10 items sa true or false, mga 20 to 30 items sa multiple choice questions. Okay, then puro theory. Hopefully, the second part of our discussion ay meron kayong available sa school na accounting software para makapag-practice kayo na magawa ng transactions sa accounting software mismo. Ayan. So, if there are any questions, pa-post na lang po sa GC. Your exam will be tomorrow, face-to-face. Multiple choice questions and true or false. Chapters 1 to 3. Kung wala na pong tanong, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you po.